My name is Juan Chavez. I am the founder and president of AZ Reach and a church planter in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm born and raised in South Phoenix, and at the age of 19, Jesus Christ radically changed my life, saved me, and transformed my heart. And immediately gave me a desire for young people. Gave me a desire to go back to my community, to South Phoenix, and be a light in darkness. At age 22, God put me back on the same high school campus I graduated from as a teacher. One of my first students was Jose Mercado. Jose was a junior, and every single day, Jose would come into my class high as a kite. And I would try to build a relationship with Jose. More importantly, as a young believer, I was trying to tell him about Jesus. Jose wanted nothing to do with Jesus. Jose told me he was an atheist and basically told me to shut up. But I realized there was power in relationship. So I began to ask questions to Jose, and I learned that he wanted to be a police officer. So I took him to a Phoenix police event over a weekend and spent the entire weekend with Jose and a few of his friends. That weekend, the relationship changed. The wall was brought down, and I earned the trust of Jose. So soon after, I invited Jose to a Christian camp. He said yes, and for a week straight, he heard the gospel. The first night Jose went back home, he committed his life to Jesus in his room. Today, Jose's in his 30s. He works with AZ Reach, and he does full-time ministry in South Phoenix, discipling young men like Nazareth, like Daniel, who were just like him from the same high school he graduated from in his community. Years later, I had another student, Dominique Williams, and I began to disciple Dominique and point him to Jesus. Dominique was a football player. He was a big guy, and one day in my class during lunch, he got into an argument with his girlfriend, Brenda, and things almost got physical. I go, Dominique, you got to leave, bro. Get out of my room, cool off for 10 minutes. I asked Brenda to stay. I went to meet Dominique outside, and I challenged him. This is not how we are supposed to treat women. We're supposed to love them and respect them and care for them. And Dom said, I agree with everything you're saying, but I never saw this modeled. I don't have a dad. The next day, I asked my class, how many of you do not live at home with your biological fathers? And the majority of my class raised their hand. So I began to pray, God, what can we do about this? The Lord allowed me and some friends to start a group meeting in living rooms with 10 young men from Chavez High School, 9 of them not having father figures. We broke bread, ate home-cooked meals over a dinner table, opened up scripture, and challenged them to apply the gospel contextually to the inner city, challenged them to be faithful fathers and faithful husbands. And we modeled it by introducing them to our wives and our families and showing them what this looked like practically, not perfectly, but what it looked like practically. This group multiplied to the central part of Phoenix, and soon after, the high school I was working at called me and said, Juan, can you help us? We have some kids that are wilding out. They're out of control. Can you do something? They gave me 12 of their worst behaved students on campus. Because of my years in teaching, I developed a curriculum that took what we were teaching in the living room and allowed me to apply it on a high school campus, teaching these same principles. The school would send the students to us during school hours. I got some Christian brothers to come around and begin building relationships with these students. And soon after, their behavior started to change. And the school recognized whatever we were doing was working. 4 of those students went to a Christian camp, and a number of them began attending Bible studies we were doing in the community. This is when we launched AZ Reach. AZ Reach is a nonprofit that sends Christian leaders to high school campuses to engage with 9th through 12th grade students, to our next generation. AZ Reach has an MOU with the districts and schools we serve, and we provide our services at no cost to the school. One pastor described AZ Reach as starting youth groups with youth who would never go to a youth group. We desire to impact students holistically. Last school year, 5 students came into our room grieving the loss of loved ones within a 2-week period. I sent those students' names to the school. I said, can we get these students signed up to your grief and loss group? This is a school of 2,800 students. The school replied, we don't have a grief and loss group. And the reality is most inner city schools don't have these kind of resources. One of our team members, who's a Christian and a licensed therapist, began a grief and loss group every week on campus for that school. 2 years ago, students began talking about how they want to start businesses. They want to make money. They want to be their own boss. We'd say, okay, great. How are you going to do that? I don't know, but I want to do it. And we realized they had the drive and the motivation, but they lacked the resources and the education to do it. So we developed a curriculum that teaches financial literacy and entrepreneur development. And we bring in mentors from the community who are successful entrepreneurs who testify to how God changed their lives and started a business. And we challenge them to do the same for the good of the community and the glory of God. And we want to see the poverty cycle broken in the inner city. To date, AZ Reach has seen over 1,500 students through our programs. Some of our students are now connected to our church plant and other churches and youth groups in the city that our staff lead. In our church plant, you'll find Jose Mercado sitting next to Nazareth Gavin. Gavin graduated in 2023, Jose in 2011. You'll see Raina and Graves, Kenneth and Micah, who also graduated and have been impacted with the gospel through the power of relationship and the programs that AZ Reach offers. We desire to see AZ Reach expand into new schools, cities, and communities. We want to make our curriculums available to others who desire to start a similar work. A Christian leader in Tampa Bay by the name of Mark Diaz has taken our program and successfully replicated it in his city. In Arizona, we're expanding into the Tempe School District with 2 new schools and possibly Dysart High School in West Phoenix. Yesterday, I just got a call about Betty Fairfax High School saying, we need AZ Reach here. How can we make this happen? So we're praying about how the Lord might do that. This grant money will help us roll out our programs on new high school campuses, communities, and cities. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share about AZ Reach and the impact we're making in our city. Thank you.